Hey everybody, welcome to this week's lesson with the Healing Box Project. Hey, this time we're going to do a little work with some major seventh chords, and the lesson is called the inside scoop on major seventh chords. The shape that I'm going to show you today of A major 7 can also be used as a sixth chord, moved up and down the neck for kind of a bluesy sound. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm also going to show you how to use major seventh chords just to play back and forth to practice with and to add to some of the other chords that you already have in your toolbox. Let's check our tuning first though. Here's low E. That's the 6th string. Let's go to the 5th string, A. And let's go to the 4th string, D. And the 3rd string, G. The 2nd string, B. And the 1st string, E. Now you might have to rewind and go back and listen to that again. Make sure that your guitar sounds like this. Okay? Alright, now let's start with the A major 7 chord. If you know the chord D7, it's like that, only all moved over one string. Up towards your nose, one string. So, I have my first finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret, and I have my 2nd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and I have my 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. Now, you can strum from the 5th string down. This is A major 7. Major 7th chords have a real recognizable, pretty sound. Okay, it's a beautiful chord, and it has the 7th step of the major scale on top of a regular chord, A major. So it's called A major 7. Now, one other difference between A major 7 and just A7 is that when you play A7, just a regular chord, the 7th step in this case is flatted, or it's down a half step farther than the major 7th chord. In other words, it's not the 7th step of the major scale, it's flatted. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's the 7th step of the major scale. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. That's the 7th step. And then A again. So you heard the scale like. Okay, now, if I play the flatted 6, it'll sound like this. Doesn't sound like a major scale because it doesn't have the major 7th in it. So, here's A7. And here's A major 7. So it's a real pretty sounding chord. And sometimes I joke about it. It's the lounge lizard chord, where you Holiday Inn bands, where you hear something like for an ending chord. That's that lounge lizard major 7 kind of sound. Okay, well, we're going to get back to the major 7th chord here in just a minute, but I want to show you that same shape, if you move it up the neck and just use the 3 chords, 3 notes in the chord instead of a 4-note chord. See what I'm playing? A major 7, A is 4 notes. 5th string down. Each one of those notes is different. No doublings in there. And even when I play no doublings. Okay, now if I just use this shape and these 3 notes, I move it up the neck. It says like this. And that's just that shape. It's D7 moved over one string. Now, if I put my first finger up here on the 4th fret, and these 2 fingers are on the 5th fret, and that's that D7 shape, That chord right there is G6. Here's the bass note. Now, if I play G6 as a bar chord, here's G bar chord, here's G7 as a bright chord like this, and here's the 6. There's that note right there. And that's this chord. Now here it is without the bass note. That's just that part of the chord. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because this chord is used to move. You've heard it used in maybe the song Stormy Monday. I learned this chord from the Allman Brothers song Stormy Monday, and it goes like this. Hear how it moves? There's that. Now in the background you've got this chord. You just think about that for a minute. Hear that? But that chord can replace a regular G or G7, and it jazzes it up a little bit. Now, the whole progression to Stormy Monday we're not going to go through today, but I can show you how to use this chord in just 1, 4, and 5 using G, C, G, D, now G6, C, G, D, G. And there's that sound. Now use it as an ending chord there. Okay, now, if I move this up the neck, I'm going from here and I'm looking at this chord, I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, okay, what is the name of this chord? Well, actually it's the name of the note that's under your second finger, but you can look at it like this. Here's an octave. That's not my second finger now, it's my third finger, but that note is the same as this note. And if I know the names of the notes on the 6th string, then I know that's a G. So I can name that chord G6 by going by my second finger, that G. Now I can move it around. Okay, now I'm going to change the whole key. I'm going to go to the key of A. Here's G, G sharp, A. Alright, now with this A here, I'm going to use a couple of other little chords that we have touched on a little bit before. Ninth chords. That looks like B7, only instead of playing using these 2 strings like this, I use all 3 strings and just cover it with my 3rd finger. And that's the chord that you're going to see me use up here on the neck. I'll be playing on the 5th fret. That happens to be D9. This happens to be E9. Just to demonstrate to you what the 6th chord can do up here. Okay? So I've taken A major 7 and gone up the neck until I get to, once I start moving it, it turns to a 6. So here's G6, E6, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. There's A6. Now listen to this. There's that. Now. Back to A6. So you can kind of hear how that 6th chord can be used. So mess around with that a little bit. It can replace any kind of 7th chord that you come to, except for major 7th. I'm just talking about the 7th chord. If you had a G7, you could play G6, and it would make it jazzy. Here's G6, here's G7. Now, let's get off that kind of jazzy sound for a minute and go to the next part of the lesson, chord color. Number 2 talks about beautiful, soul-soothing major 7th chords and chord changes from one major 7th chord to another. And on that, on this handout sheet that you can have me email you, we have some chord changes that you can use back and forth that are real pretty. A major 7, the chord that we just did a minute ago. And D major 7, here's D major 7. You can use your first finger or you can use your second finger. Just cover the first 3 strings. Like that. It's 4-string chord. Alternate bass is the 5th string. And A major 7, the alternate bass is the 6th string. D major 7. A major 7. And D major 7. Now I want to show you a couple of cool little things that you can do with those shapes. Now, we're talking about moving A major 7 up the neck a little bit. Well, I'm going to move this up so my first finger goes to the 6th fret and back. And it kind of sounds floaty. You may have heard this used somewhere in a song before. Listen to this sound. And here it is, a D major 7. Going up to the 7th fret and back. A major 7. With my first finger to the 6th fret, or if you look at these 2 fingers, I'll go to the 7th fret. There's a lot of action going up to the 7th fret. Hear that? A. You can only do that in this key. I mean, with these chords like this. Is there more? Yeah, you could. With this D major 7, I'm going to go from here. 7 and then 14. Well, that sure is pretty, isn't it? Listen. I see some light bulbs coming on. There you go. That major 7 moved like that. That's a rhythmic lick. Okay, the next part of the song talks about, or the lesson talks about an example where you've heard these chords used, major 7ths. Lion Eyes by the Eagles goes G, G major 7, and C. You hear that in there? This little. Nice little passing tone to get from the 1 to the 4 chord, going G, G major 7, then C. Now, another song that you've heard that uses major 7ths, Something by Paul McCartney. Listen to this. A major 7. And that's a different way to play A major 7. Here's the A chord, and there's a major 7th. Here's A7, here like this. That's the next chord of the song. Major 7, 7th. Okay, so there's that sound, okay? Major 7th chords that you can just play around with. Here's C major 7 to F major 7. F major 7, C major 7, and now I'm going to play G major 7 to C major 7, C major 7. Okay, now instead of using a regular C, sometimes you might be able to throw in a C major 7 to add a little color to the song. Knocking on Heaven's Door sounds like this. G, B, A minor 7, G, B, and C major 7. It's a cool little change in there like that. Now, let's see. Changing those chords back and forth using a rhythm, I want you to just have some fun with it. Check this out. If I play each chord 8 times, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, switch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to go to C major 7, F major 7. Hey, listen, have a great week. Mess around with the major 7th chords. Try that little bluesy G6. And we'll see you next time.